Hi, my name is Jesse. I want to thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time so I can tell you some of the things that have happened to me over the last 12 years. Maybe there might be something in it for you to listen. 12 years ago, in January 2002, my wife had to take me to the emergency room experiencing severe abdominal pain. Upon arriving at the emergency room, the doctors thought that I might be having diverticulitis or maybe a valve obstruction, and they needed to do emergency exploratory surgery to figure out what was going on. The next day when I woke up in the hospital room, the doctors came to visit me. They explained to me that what they found was a very rare form of abdominal cancer called pseudomyxoma peritonei. They told me that this was a deadly form of cancer and there was almost no cure for it. In fact, there were only two doctors in the world who could handle it, one in Hong Kong and one in Washington, D.C. And I needed to get myself prepared for what was coming. I looked at the doctors and I told them without a blemish, without a thought, you're fixing to see a miracle. The doctors immediately visited my wife and asked her to help me come to terms with this. He's obviously in denial. And she responded, he's a man of faith and he believes believes what he said. You're going to see a miracle. We decided that Hong Kong was just a little bit too far, so we went to Washington, D.C. to meet with Dr. Sugarbaker and to schedule a follow-up surgery for June of that year. This was a 12-hour surgery that entailed basically being disemboweled and scrubbed out with a scrub brush and hot chemo. 12-hour surgery went as planned. They removed several tumors and a large portion of the affected tissue and sewed me back up, and then proceeded to fill me with hot chemo, which I had to turn from side to side every 30 minutes to make sure that it completely covered everything. Well, 3 days of this and I succumbed to the chemo and fentanyl, which was the pain medicine I was on, and went into full-blown respiratory arrest. And at this point, you can say I had a dream, you can say I had a near-death experience. I don't care what you say. I don't even know what to call it, but I do know that I was taken and I was shown hell. I wasn't taken to hell. Where I was taken was someplace safe, and I was taken with an angel and Jesus. He was so close to me, and he rested his hand upon my shoulder and let me know to comfort me. I saw the gates of hell and legions upon legions upon legions of demons lined up in front of the gate waiting for it to be opened. One of the demons turned and looked at me. And these aren't the demons that you think you know. They looked like us. They were human in looks, but they weren't. One of the demons turned and made eye contact with me, and his hatred was palpable. Loathing, contempt. I could tell in just one look that he truly wished nothing but slow, torturous pain, agonizing death and destruction of me and everyone like me. I still felt the hand of Jesus on my shoulder. I still feel it there today. And I was told to tell you that this is what's waiting for the world. That soon God will be removing himself from the world. And without his protection, those legions upon legions of demons will be released to do whatever they want. I came back when they revived me. I spent the next 3 days awake and wasn't able to sleep. Not from fear, just out of sheer awe of what I had seen. And the message that he had given me at that time was to tell you this is what is coming, and that we don't have time to bicker amongst ourselves or to judge others. We have to get his message out, and his message is very simple. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind, and love each other as you love yourself. Well, I told a few people, but not enough, and I'm afraid I was acting more like the servant who took his master's gold and buried it instead of went out and made the investments and made his master more. I've wasted a lot of time because I felt like I wasn't a righteous man, or I didn't deserve. Why should I be allowed to give you this message? So I put it on the back burner. 3 years later, I had to go in and have follow-up surgery due to complications I had experienced from the surgery, which was scar tissue had built up in my abdominal cavity to the point where it was causing additional blockages in my intestine. The surgery was scheduled for 2 hours, but because of the massive amounts of scar tissue I had inside my abdominal cavity, it went on to 3.5. It had gone on so long that they had not prepared enough anesthesia for me, and I woke up under the anesthesia while surgery was when I was being operated on. I remember the sound of the operating room. I remember the voice of the doctor. I felt the implements inside me. I felt the cutting, the pulling, and the pain. I cannot begin to describe the pain. I had 3 years ago, I'd had abdominal surgery with pancreatitis, and I thought that was pain, but that didn't even come close to what I felt. I couldn't move my hands, I couldn't move my arms, couldn't breathe, I couldn't do anything on my own. I was completely paralyzed, and all I could do was pray. And as soon as I started praying, the pains became a little bit less. I remember a tear running down the side of my face, and the nurse, or a female, I don't know if it was a nurse or the anesthesiologist, said, "Oh my gosh, he's awake. Don't worry, we're going to get you some medicine, you'll be fine soon." I started praying more, and he asked God for the strength to endure this, and he did. And sure as her promise, I felt myself slipping back into unconsciousness. And once again, I was laid upon me this notion that time is running out. The pain that you suffered is nothing compared to the pain that those who are left behind will. Nothing compared to the pain of those who don't have God. The pain experienced in hell, or the pain experienced in life without God, is beyond anything we can humanly imagine. I wish there was a way to express the necessity of letting people know that God is out there and that he loves us. And we need to quit overcomplicating the issue and just go back to the simplistic message of Jesus. And even if we're laughed at, even if we're ridiculed, no caring, conscious human being would want to wish that upon another person. Terrell, 3 years later, had to have another surgery. A spot on my spleen had grown into a tumor. The tumor that grew into the size of a volleyball, and had to have another surgery. That surgery went extremely well. The doctor removed the tumor, sewed me back up, and because I was doing so well, he sent me back to the regular hospital rooms to SICU. The nurse came out to drain the tubes, which had all these tubes coming out of my body with collection bulbs on the end of them, and they were filled with liquid. She emptied about into one of the standard wash basins that they give you in the hospital, and it was blood. And there were 4 of these, and as soon as she could empty one, it would fill back up with blood. She had gone through trying to drain these out to the point where the wash tub was almost full of blood. She ran to the nurse's station to get the doctor on the floor to ask to take me down to the SICU. She figured that I was bleeding out and I was going to anaphylactic shock. I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, please forgive me, but the shock you go into from blood loss. The doctor on the floor said, "Oh, just monitoring for a little while, she'll be fine. He'll be fine." During all this time, a sense of peace came over me. I prayed that any sins I'd forgotten be forgiven. I prayed that God take care of my wife. And I felt calm. And I was okay with what was happening. I knew I was dying. The nurse, however, refused to let me die. She grabbed my hospital bed, not taking me to a gurney, and took me down to the SICU, where my doctor immediately was called, who was livid that he wasn't called in the first place. But they went back in and had to do surgery on me again, just within a few hours of having the first surgery, and repaired the artery that fed the spleen, which had ruptured. For the third time, the same message. It's almost time. We're running out. And we can give everyone this peace that I felt. It's okay, because whatever happens here isn't the end. We'll be missed, but it'll only be for a short time. So in that time, with this past 12 years, I've experienced 3 phases of death. I've seen what comes after for those who don't believe. I see what's waiting for us, or waiting for them who are left behind. I felt the pain, a small portion of the pain that they will feel. And I've experienced the peace that we all who are Christians feel, knowing that we have some place to go, and knowing that our families will be taken care of, and that everything in the long run will be okay. Now, I'm not trying to preach to you from a point of arrogance, or I'm better than you. I'm not. I am the least. I am the last person God should entrust to give this message to someone. And I've heard more and more people saying the same message. But I do know this much. We are loved. And we are wanted. And we need to reciprocate that same love to everybody. No matter what they do. No matter who they are. No matter what your political beliefs or what you think is right. All of us. Every last one of us has sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So before you get on your high horse, before I get on my high horse, just take a moment and remember the things in your life that you're not proud of. And reach out to someone who you don't think is worthy of being reached out to, and tell them that they are loved. And explain to them who Jesus is. And there's the 2 commandments that he gave to us. Love God and love each other. Because we don't have much time left to spread that simple message. Thank you for listening to me. God bless y'all, and hopefully I'll see y'all soon.